This is Mac OS Ken.
Unstaying a stay in the epic Apple suit, an interesting use case for Apple Vision Pro, and a return date for Ted Lasso. It is Wednesday, the 29th of April, 2026. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Copilot Money. Your money, beautifully organized. Get 2 months free with code MacOSKen at copilot.money/MacOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. Are you keeping up with happenings in the Apple v. Epic case? If so, would you like to explain it to me? Pulling from reports in both 9 to 5 Mac and Apple Insider, Apple and Epic went round and round about App Store sales and outside sales years ago, with Apple winning on all counts save one. Apple had to drop its anti-steering practices and let developers let customers know that they could pay for apps and services outside the App Store. Apple complied, according to Apple Insider, but, still wanted to wet its beak. The commission it settled on was 27%, barely budging from the App Store standard of 30%. That did not look fair to the court. Rather, it looked like Apple making selling outside the App Store not worth it for developers. Finding Apple in contempt of its order, the court said, "Tell you what, how about zero commission for outside sales?" After another appeal or two, that was also deemed untenable. Apple and Epic were supposed to settle on a fair commission for outside sales, which they have yet to do. In the meantime, Apple is still appealing the anti-steering ruling with the Supreme Court. While that gets worked out, Apple asked the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to stay the whole outside commission order, which the Ninth Circuit did. Epic appealed that stay, and last night, seriously, when I was about to make dinner, last night, the Ninth Circuit reversed itself, saying, yeah, that whole outside commission thing still needs to be hashed out. And so, Apple and Epic are headed back to the lower court to figure out the outside commission thing. Meanwhile, Apple is still hoping the highest court in the land will side with it. Sorry about how informal all that was. I just can't with this story anymore. No word on when either next step will take place. Another positive note on Apple ahead of tomorrow's second quarter earnings report. Positive-ish. 9 to 5 Mac has had a look at a CNBC report. CNBC has had a look at a note from UBS analyst David Vogt. David Vogt has had a look at the same Apple moves everybody else is looking at and come to similar conclusions. For the March quarter, Vogt wrote in his note that supply chain strength and sustained demand and share gains for the iPhone 17 series should lift iPhone revenue up about 20% year on year. As for the June quarter, the piece says Vogt reportedly increased his forecast for Apple's revenue by roughly 4% to $102 billion, suggesting 8.5% year-over-year growth, adding that solid demand in the US and China will lead to about 6% revenue growth, or $47.4 billion versus a previous estimate of $43.5 billion. I assume that's roughly 6% revenue growth for iPhone to $47.4 billion. Even a direct copy-paste of CNBC's piece on another site doesn't make that clear. Whatever the case, that all sounds pretty positive, and yet I called the note positive-ish. That's because Mr. Vogt is still neutral on Apple shares. That said, he did use Tuesday's missive to raise his price target on the shares. That he moved from $280 to $287. If you wanted to talk about the weather on Tuesday, the weather app for iOS might not have been your best friend. Mac Rumors says a glance at Apple's system status page caught the app napping for part of the day. Reports from users, or people who wanted to use the app, had the weather app slow to load for some and not loading data at all for others. All better now, though, with no explanation. Apple's status page had the issue running from 7:45 a.m. Pacific, 10:45 Eastern, until 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. back east. When it comes to unmitigated technological failures, Apple Vision Pro seems to be a successful one. Put another way, just because it doesn't do what consumers want, doesn't mean Apple Vision Pro isn't doing what Apple wants. Well, Apple and others. Mac Rumors ran a piece Tuesday on Apple's headset being used to perform cataract surgery. Site MD put out a press release playing up the work of Dr. Eric Rosenberg. Feels weird for an ophthalmology practice to put out a press release, but we wouldn't know about it otherwise, and besides, it really is cool. The procedure is powered by Scope XR, a mixed reality surgical platform co-developed by Dr. Rosenberg. Working with existing 3D surgical microscopes, the release says Scope XR streams real-time surgical imaging directly into the surgeon's headset. But it doesn't have to send to just one headset. The release says one of the most impactful features is its real-time remote collaboration capability. Surgeons, mentors, and consultants anywhere in the world can virtually join procedures, seeing exactly what the operating surgeon sees, including live microscope feeds and diagnostic data, while communicating via secure two-way audio. The release says Rosenberg was the first surgeon in the world to successfully perform cataract surgery using Apple's headset, and he has done it again, and again, and again. According to SiteMD, the initial procedure was successfully completed in October of last year, and since that time, Dr. Rosenberg and his team have performed hundreds of additional cases using the platform, demonstrating both its scalability and real-world clinical impact. We should all fail as big as Apple Vision Pro. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Copilot Money. Your money beautifully organized. How many paid subscriptions do you currently have running? If your answer is, you should try Copilot Money. Its automatic subscription tracking lets you know what's renewing and when. No more surprise charges or forgotten free trials. Of course, you may be surprised how much your subscriptions are costing you, but it is the kind of thing you need to know. Subscriptions, savings, deposits. Copilot Money puts all of that and more in one place with a great interface on the web, as well as beautiful apps for the Mac, iPhone, and iPad, and seamless syncing across all of them. Keep track of your money with Copilot Money. Right now you can get 2 months free with code MacOSKen at copilot.money/MacOSKen. Featured by Apple as an app we love and a must-have finance app, you can try it free for 2 months with offer code MacOSKen at copilot.money/MacOSKen. Copilot Money. Your money beautifully organized. Try 2 months free with code MacOSKen at copilot.money/MacOSKen. More award nominations for Apple TV titles. The Cupertino streamer issued a press release Tuesday trumpeting 6 nominations for 3 shows at the 2026 Gotham Television Awards. The release says the Gotham Awards honor visionary talent in front of and behind the camera, expand the audience for groundbreaking film and television, and support the year-round work of the not-for-profit the Gotham Film and Media Institute. Turning up this year for Apple TV, 3 nominations for Pluribus, Outstanding Supporting Performance in a Drama Series for Carolina Widra, Outstanding Lead Performance in a Drama Series for Ray Seahorn, and Breakthrough Drama Series. There are 2 nominations for Margot's Got Money Troubles, Outstanding Supporting Performance in a Comedy Series for Michelle Pfeiffer, and Outstanding Lead Performance in a Comedy Series for Elle Fanning. And finally, there is 1 nomination for Mr. Scorsese, Breakthrough Nonfiction Series. Apple TV has picked up an armful of Gotham Awards over the past few years, including 1 for the studio, 1 for Pachinko, and 2 for the Academy Award-winning feature, Coda. As for this year's titles, winners will be named on Monday, the 1st of June. Flattering though the award noms may be, Apple is interested in what people who pony up for the service think as well. To that end, a piece from 9 to 5 Mac says Apple TV has sent out surveys to a subset of subscribers asking questions about content quality, variety, whether sports coverage is important, and how they feel about awards. Speaking of awards, one of Apple's most lauded series has a date for its return. The Cupertino streamer issued another press release Tuesday, posting a premiere date and a teaser for Season 4 of Ted Lasso. The 4th season will see Ted heading back to Richmond to coach a 2nd Division women's football team. Many show regulars are back, including Jason Sudeikis, of course, Hannah Waddingham, Juno Temple, Brett Goldstein, Brendan Hunt, Jeremy Swift, and others. New additions include Tanya Reynolds, Jude Mack, Rex Hayes, and still others. Season 4 starts on Wednesday, the 5th of August. You can see the Ted Lasso Season 4 teaser on YouTube. And finally today, I do not dig horror, but I do dig comedy. So I go with trepidation to Widow's Bay. 9 to 5 Mac wrote up the show earlier this week. This is the one about the town on an island 40 miles off the coast of New England. The mayor wants to make it a destination for tourists. There's at least one problem, though. Locals think the island is cursed, and kind of looks like they're right. Critics see Widow's Bay as a place viewers do need to go. 9 to 5 Mac pulled quotes from a few reviews. RogerEbert.com says Widow's Bay is truly unlike anything else on TV, a wild swing of tonal shifts that works because it commits so fully to both halves of the equation. The AV Club says, with its diverse elements coming together like lightning in a bottle, Widow's Bay is a destination well worth visiting. And Decider says, a hauntingly good horror comedy that achieves a masterful blend of nail-biting terror and deliciously dark humor. With over 20 critics weighing in, the show currently has a 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences haven't had time to decide yet, though. They can start now. The first 2 episodes of Widow's Bay are up to stream on Apple TV. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Copilot Money. Get 2 months free with code macOSKen at copilot.money/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOSKen at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macosken.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Leonard likes this post.